Good evening, everyone, and good morning to our alumni speakers who have joined us from the US. I, Neha Desai, welcome you all to the fifth conversation organized by the Office of Alumni Affairs and Advancement at the Ahmedabad University. The Ahmedabad alumni community includes students graduating from the Amrit Modi School of Management and School of Engineering and Applied Science and the School of Arts and Sciences, and others became the constituents of Ahmedabad University since its inception. At the Office of Alumni Affairs and Advancement, we work to ensure that constant, meaningful interaction with the alumni community takes place to keep us all well connected and a closely knit community. We are working to create platforms where, as an alum, you could mentor a student, or you could develop and lead a shared interest group, or students' education, or something that just lets you revisit your university days. Like engaging in the students' club activities or volunteering at the students' university event, of course, when we reopen physically. And well, in short, we welcome new ideas, friendships, professional affiliations, collaborations, volunteering opportunities, philanthropic commitments, all of it which would inspire alumni individually and collectively to establish lifelong relations with the university. We started this alumni series, a conversation, a few months back with the objective of connecting with our alumni community, with each other, and initiate a dialogue with them and the university. We invite our distinguished alumni from different schools at the university to interact with us, sharing their journey from the university days to where they are currently today in their professional lives. We hope that these conversations will bring like-minded alumni in contact with each other and also inspire our current students to do better, to choose path less taken, or just be the best versions of themselves in anything and everything that they do. Our alumni speakers today are from the School of Engineering and Applied Science. The School of Engineering and Applied Science at Ahmedabad University offers programs on Bachelor of Technology in Chemical Engineering, Computer Science and Engineering, and Mechanical Engineering. It also offers Masters of Technology in Computer Sciences and Engineering. It also offers doctoral programs in Chemical Engineering, Computer Science and Engineering, Mechanical Engineering, Applied Chemistry, Applied Physics. And these programs prepares students for future roles, such as entrepreneurs and innovators by practice-based hands-on training in visualization and graphics, product realization along with design, innovation, making, and apart from the classroom instructions, students are provided exposure to the engineering of products and design methodology in laboratory settings using contemporary tools of analysis and design, including software packages which are widely used in the engineering industry. Well, coming back to our speakers for the evening, I will not introduce them and I will let them enjoy the moment being introduced by one of their own professors, which itself is a huge honor for an alum. I warmly welcome Professor Sanjay Chaudhary, Dean of Students at Ahmedabad University and a professor at the School of Engineering and Applied Science. Professor Chaudhary enjoys teaching and researching in the areas of cloud computing, blockchain technology, data analytics, and ICT applications in agriculture and rural development. He has authored 8 books, 9 book chapters, and over 125 research papers, along with plenty articles in literary work in Gujarati language, all of which has won him many grants, awards, and accolades. He's played a significant role in guiding his students to pave way into successful career, and the students have high regard for him. So over to you, Professor Chaudhary.
No, thank you, Neha, for nice introduction. But before we start, I would sincerely request Professor Chandra to share, his comments and his vision, because that will create the right context for this particular meeting and event. Professor Chandra, we request you to please start.
Well, thank you, Sanjay and Neha and Hirak and Kshitij and Amish. I mean, welcome. You belong to really a very early batches of the institution, as as it was taking shape. And you, I mean, in many ways, you were very courageous to come to a new institution, which was wanting to build itself into something very unusual. And it's very, very heartening to see both of you and many others do so very well in life. I mean, that's, nothing pleases professors more than when they see the students really excel and do better than the professors themselves. And I think I'm so delighted in that sense that you've done very well. Uh, you know, just to add one other thing before we move on, the school has come very long ways. The university has come very long way. I think we now have a purpose. We now have a direction. We now have a very interesting identity that we've crafted for ourselves, which is very different from any other institution, not only in Gujarat, but definitely in India. We are a liberal tech institution in quite some ways, if I put it in a colloquial term, where the young students who come in really go through a 40% or 45% of the curriculum outside the school. And the idea being to build both the breadth as well as build the backdrop for many of the application domains in which our students would work, whether it is health or life sciences or transportation or telecommunication or plain simple environment associated with the advanced manufacturing, or whether it's discrete part or continuous. And in that, we are finding very differently skilled students emerging. People who are more understanding of the world around them, more understanding of issues around them, whether these are social issues or whether these are needs for which innovation may be done or for which companies may develop new products and services. And I think the school has also moved tremendously around experiential learning, where doing is that much more strengthened than what it ever was before. So I think this school is on a very exciting path, a path which is theoretical and yet very applied, very action driven, and with newer and newer faculty coming in from some of the best places around the world and in India. I think positions us immensely well in years to come to really emerge as a very significant engineering school. We will be very different from other institutions in Gujarat and in India. That's a choice that we have made, but we will be very impactful in doing so. And I think under the leadership of Sanjay, Kunjru Saab, and many others, senior faculty, I think this school is poised for something fabulous in terms of being able to do newer things, whether it's the boundaries of biology and health, or whether it is in any other domain. And this pandemic is telling us even more why this approach of ours, which integrates, which connects disciplines, which provides a very interesting foundation to every student coming in, is crucial. So I'm so delighted about the school and the fact that Neha and Hirak, you are doing this event with Kshitij and Amish today. So thank you and best wishes to everyone.
Yeah, so thank you, Professor Chandra. As usual, you create such a nice and fantastic context. Not only you briefed about what we did in past, what we are doing now, what is our vision, where we are heading for, and the kind of challenges we are taking, and kind of motivation which you are providing to all employees, students, staff, and everybody. I mean, your words are absolutely very correct and relevant in a sense. There are many students I can see and when they listen from you, it makes a lot of impact on them. And when they look at the future and the kind of two young leaders with whom we are going to interact, and when we discuss more, I'm sure they will correlate. They will realize that they are at a wonderful place at this moment for their study and so on. So let me start formally. And before I start, I would like to thank Neha, Hirak, Office of Alumni Affairs of Ahmedabad University for providing us the opportunity, me and both young leaders, Amish and Kshitij, to interact. Initially, I will interact with them, and later on, we will open up the floor with anybody to have questions, and in between also, if you have any specific points to make, please feel free to raise your, to suggest your views and have conversation, and let us make this conversation very live and very active. So let me start formally by introducing both young speakers. Amish and Kshitij, I can remember, when they both joined, we were, in a different building, and I can still remember the kind of, a lot of concerns and worry on their face when they joined us. And I can remember both having a very innocent face during those days, coming and
But
asking.
Sanjay, they continue to have innocent faces today.
Really?
It was not those days and all.
No, good observation, Professor Chandra. I agree with you completely. And both, I mean, why I want to repeat this point is, I can remember those days, and they used to come and ask so many questions. And one thing which I will conclude towards the end is that, they never ever complained. Actually, they were always interested in asking for the betterment, actually, that, and as you said very correctly, the school has done a lot in past. And I'm sure when they share their views, we all will realize. So let me kickstart and let me formally introduce both so that if others are not knowing about Amish and Kshitij, they will know about both very quickly. Amish, after doing BTech with major in chemical engineering at Ahmedabad University, Amish decided to go for Master of Science in Chemical Engineering. And he did his Master of Science at a very prestigious, one of the most prestigious universities, Carnegie Mellon University. And when he shared his views, I can remember those days, we were so happy that, our own students are able to, break through now, kind of any high level ceilings, even for higher studies and so on. And after doing a Master of Science at CMU, he was simulation intern at Intermolecular Company. And he's going to share his future plans when we will interact. He will tell us more about his future plans. But interesting thing to note is that he was research assistant at CMU, as well as he was undergraduate teaching assistant at Ahmedabad University. He also went to IIT Bombay for his summer internship. But one point which I would like to emphasize specifically for young students who are present just now is that, he is a boy who was one of the founders of American Institute of Chemical Engineering. And he was taking all the pain to set up that particular institute. And thanks to Amish, I think now that chapter is growing so professionally, and the students have now achieved a lot of awards. That particular chapter is now able to generate that kind of impact. So thanks, Amish, for your initiative. Kshitij, Kshitij, after doing Bachelor of Technology from Ahmedabad University, in having major in mechanical engineering, and I was knowing his plan when he used to talk about, he straight away went for Stanford University. And again, the huge, I mean, the kind of news when he's shared with us, we all were very happy that look at the kind of students we are having, and after doing MS at Stanford University. He's working. He did internships also in between. He was working in a company where he was working in the area of robotics. But at present, he's working as a behavior planning engineer at Lucid Motors. And when I read his brief, I was really surprised to know the kind of work he's doing now. So currently, he's developing behavior planning algorithms for vehicle autonomy level 2+. And he's involved in a lot of highway related scenarios and so on. I'm sure he will share a lot of details with us, and we'll be very, very excited to know the kind of work both of you are doing. Now, let me enter formally into our conversation. I would like to know really, very frankly, because knowing you both personally, I would like to just know that after completing BTech program at one of the leading universities, Ahmedabad University, you completed Master in Science at the most prestigious universities. And now you are at such a wonderful stage for your next dynamic phase of your life and career. What do you feel now? I'm sure you both must be feeling great that, you look at the world very differently now. Can you please share your views about your current activities and plans? And as I raise this particular question, also share with us what do you feel and what you would like to share with all of us. In any order, I think order is not fixed. Amish, Kshitij, in between, you can dribble in also, you can pass on pointers to each other, and whichever way, Amish and Kshitij, please.
Okay, let me start. Right. Okay, so yeah, right now, I think the field that I am in particular right now, I picked it up in the second semester at Carnegie Mellon University. But it is really a theoretical / computational field. So basically, I use computational simulations to model interactions or at atomic level, or determine the properties of materials at atomic levels. And this is really a field which interfaces with lots and lots of applications. So during my master's thesis, I worked on a problem related to oxidation resistance of alloys. Now I'm working in semiconductor materials industry, and for PhD, I plan to do something related to energy and clean energy and fuels and everything. But the bigger idea is that this is a field which interfaces with, of course, it does interface with a lot of applications, but it also interfaces with a lot of theoretical areas that I learned during my undergrad. So the computational simulations that I do now, I started during my master's, but the base was really set during my undergrad, which kind of gives me a sense of belonging to a field now. Chemical engineering itself may be considered as a field, but what you actually do on a field, on field of an application, it is always more specific than the broader curriculum that you go through in a program, right? So it has been a really good academic journey, and apparently it's not over for me. I'm starting a PhD program next month, but I think the journey that I have undertaken until now, it does not feel short. Yeah, it doesn't feel like I just started yesterday and it doesn't feel like, when you complete a program, sometimes you feel like it just started yesterday and now we are at a much higher level. But it is so many things have happened so many learnings, so many lessons that I have learned both hard way and easy way. So I think it has been a journey that I am personally very proud of. Of course, if I had to retake it, I would change a few things. People make mistakes. I also did, but I would say that it does now. I can go ahead and start thinking of what exactly I want to contribute to the larger good of humanity. So that I think is that feeling itself is, I believe, an achievement that I consider or that I am proud of now. So yeah, I guess Kshitij can take it from here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amish. First of all, thank you, Sanjay sir, for such kind words. You've always been kind with your words, so I can never be grateful enough. Yeah, apart from that, everyone at Ahmedabad University, Neha ma'am, Twisha, Hirak, everyone who's helped organize this, thank you so much for this conversation. Yeah, so I have been looking back. It's been a whirlwind couple of years for me here. Now with the gift of hindsight, it's like you look back and at least I feel sort of amazed and incredibly blessed to be where I am and what I'm doing. As Sanjay sir mentioned, I work as a behavior planning engineer in a field called advanced driver assistance or automated driving. We call it ADAS, AD in industry parlance. For those who ask me every time, what do you do for a living? The easy answer is, sort of the fancy answer is, I help cars think the way humans do. And to be more honest about it, I sort of develop systems that help cars interact with the environment around them in a way that a human would do. Like, how would you approach intersections? How would you approach signals and so on? So those sort of things I do at Lucid Motors for their L2 plus, level 2 plus automated driving features. So that's where my undergrad interest, my graduate studies interest has been. That's what I'm doing right now. And I plan to continue working on this. I strongly believe in safety and autonomy, because that's one of the key things that affect us these days. There are so many accidents happening on the road. I don't have the numbers for it, but it's a shockingly high number of accidents happening due to driver negligence. And it's sort of painful to watch people lose their lives due to this. And that's where my interest comes in. Like, I'd like to work in a field where I can at least claim in some way that I prevent these accidents, these injuries in some way or some form of work. So that's where I am at in terms of my current activities. Other than just driving cars to work, driving cars at work, and driving cars from work, I've started to pick up a lot of things, because unlike Amish, I'm probably at the end of my formal education, at least for the time being. So I now have a lot of spare time to try new things. I've been into hiking, a little bit of running here and there, and I'm looking to pick up a sport or two once we are out of this situation that we are in. So those are sort of my current activities, where I am at right now, and where I'm in my career right now.
No, I mean, this is really fantastic to know. And there will be few questions. Even I'll be asking you questions about, your work profile and details, but I will just move on to a couple of questions, and then we will come back actually, to what actually you are doing. So we all would like to know few things specifically from both of you. And we know that when you joined our BTech program, even Professor Chandra said that particular point, that when you joined, we were not only setting up our infrastructure, but we were also setting up our academic programs and so on. And you joined at that particular time. So what motivated you to join School of Engineering of Ahmedabad University? That is point one. And second point is, how was your journey at Ahmedabad University?
Right. So for us, we were we were the first batches in our respective majors. And I think when I looked at the website of Ahmedabad University, I saw things that were not present on websites of very established universities. By that, I mean the vision, at least what the university itself is trying to achieve. The Ahmedabad Education Society itself, it includes a lot of reputed institutes like Indian Institute of Management, CEPT, etc. By that, the descriptions that I saw on for our majors themselves, it clearly stated that we want to build something. We want to prepare you for the real world. Even when we are operating in this building right now, we have another building that is going to be ready very soon, and we have these things planned ahead. So that clear statement of the plan ahead and the broader vision that Ahmedabad University had, I think that is not always provided when you interact with any university when you are trying to go there. And I mean, I won't say any, but most universities. That I think allowed me to take the risk. And basically, yeah, here I am. That clarity is really what helped me. So yeah, Kshitij, you might want to add something.
Yeah, Amish, I think both of us share the same sort of opinion and same sort of initial beginnings. Like it has been initially, it has been a little bit, it had been scary. We were nervous. And to be honest, for me, the journey at Ahmedabad University has been one of great learnings. And just like you, when I came in, I had the opportunity to talk to the people at the university, to talk to the people at the institute, to know about the institute more. And it's easier to understand the vision of the university and the institute from the people who are working there. So I had the opportunity to meet Sanjay sir, a couple of other faculty members before coming in. And they sort of set in stone what the university is, what the ideals are, and that sort of helped me make a decision. Also, the fact that we were a comparatively smaller batch. Both our batches were pretty small, so that I looked at it as an opportunity, and also the openness of our faculty members. They were ready to meet, they were ready to talk even during orientations. I think that's what set it apart. And it was near to my place, so I was like, okay, everything works out for me. And I like to stay in the city. Ahmedabad has always been very close to my heart, and the university again played a role. So all of these things came about to set up what has been a really wonderful journey at Ahmedabad University. So yeah, I mean, those are the things that helped me make my decisions at Ahmedabad University to come to Ahmedabad University. Yeah.
Yeah. So nice. So see, we all know that, when you were doing your BTech study, you were very, very active on campus, academically, as well as, in other activities, student activities. Even Kshitij, you were volunteer for that science lecture series. Amish was involved in a lot of student activities, plus that, chapter he established. Now, when you were doing so many things on campus, can you narrate some specific incidents which helped you to think differently? Because, when you come as a student and when you are busy in doing BTech program, you are busy with so many academic activities. But during your life at Ahmedabad University, I'm sure you might have come across very specific incidents, kind of motivation which you got, which helped you to think differently for your next phase. And that is the reason why, you went for Master of Science at such a prestigious universities, and now you are thinking differently even for your next phase. So can you please share a little bit on that?
Sure.
Sure.
I think Amish, you
Go
want to
ahead.
go
Go
ahead?
ahead.
Okay.
You go ahead.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yes. No worries. So, first of all, like Amish was also a part of the Ahmedabad University Nasir Science Lecture Series that we first organized. Again, both of us were relatively new to this. I still remember both of us sitting together, thinking about posters, what to put in posters. That was a fun conversation to have over lunch. Yeah, but I think it's not just one incident that turned around, but a lot of different things coming together for me, sort of pushing me in the direction. Activities at Ahmedabad University have always been influential, like at a subconscious level. But more specifically, it's been our technology festivals that Amish and I have been a part of, Ingenium, and I was really lucky to be a part of Ingenium during the first 3 years, coming up with the name, the first event, the second event, and then mentoring in the third and the final one that I was able to see here at Ahmedabad University. There's so many incidents during those 3 events, especially the second one. Like I specifically remember one where we had a small robot race organized, and we had to come up with a track in the middle of the courtyard in our engineering building. And it's just the fact that I see people around me who have worked with me in classes, going through assignments, sitting here with hammers and nails and putting stuff together and having a good time together. I think that sort of bonding and that sort of experience sort of made me realize the value of the education I have. And that sort of made me think that, you know what, I think I have skills to take it further. Like I'm developing skills that that I feel are important to me going forward. And to be honest, like in terms of my career progression, what I'd like to do after BTech, those were the talks, to be honest, like the talks we used to attend, our lecture series, just to see people from such distinguished backgrounds come and speak to us so passionately about their fields of interest. And it was so inspiring at times to just sit and just listen to them. Like sometimes you just try and understand where they come from. And those sort of things make you feel that, you know what, I think I'm ready to take the next step. I should be a part of a community that is actually contributing to the society. Again, so as Amish mentioned, like all of us would like to come back and sort of contribute to the society in general for the betterment. And I think somewhere I'd like to do my part. And for that, I felt like, okay, Ahmedabad University is setting me up for that. And yeah, it's just a collective effort of all these events rather than one, to be honest, sir. But yeah, I'm really fortunate. I'm fortunate to have gone through these. Yeah.
Right. I would agree completely with Kshitij in the sense that the effect was definitely collective of all the events. I joined Ingenium in the second year, so in the very first iteration, I wasn't a part of it. I joined it in 2017, I think, and that was when we opened it up for participants outside of our own institute. But one of the events that we organized as a part of events related to chemical engineering domain, we had an event where students were asked to design a fuel cell car, and I myself had no idea how to do it. It was a hydrogen fuel cells are considered to be a very clean way of running any energy system or energy dependent system, and it is a challenge these days. The fact that participants are able to generate voltage out of their fuel cells but not run a car, that was an indication that technology is not accessible yet. This technology needs work. This is something that cannot be designed on a bench scale by a group of students, then it needs work. This is one of the examples that I can remember right now. But along with this, the Ahmedabad University also had a research seminar series where it was very, very specific to some research topics, all the talks, and those specific talks addressed specific problems that were being addressed or that were being tackled by those researchers, right? So it was a continuous inspiration that there are a lot of challenges that planet Earth faces as a whole, and there are a lot of research problems that, being a chemical engineer, I can directly contribute to. So that collectively, set me up as it created an environment which set me up for looking at a research-oriented path moving forward. So I think that's what I can relate to right now.
Yeah. So, when I listen you, even at such a young age, you are thinking a lot. You are thinking a lot about, what should be the ideal role for an engineer and what kind of complex problems an engineer should be able to resolve, But before we go there, we will have few more questions. I know, just for the sake of, interest of some of the youngsters, on their behalf, I would like to ask this particular question, that after doing BTech at Ahmedabad University, when you joined Master of Science at these two prestigious universities, I'm sure you must have, you went through a lot of challenges. I mean, see, culture is different, environment is different, right? Maybe pedagogy-wise, Ahmedabad University, is quite advanced, but you always come across various challenges when you go to such universities, and things are very demanding. So how you manage yourself?
Okay, I'll go first for this one. Well, so when you move to a graduate program, you are much more free to choose what you want to do. The curriculum is much more flexible, and along with this flexibility and freedom comes a challenge of designing what path you really want to achieve throughout that curriculum. And I think that challenge got me in the first semester at my master's program. I kind of fumbled and took courses that I thought I could handle, but turned out they were very specific to some material science related domains. And until the last final exam, I thought I could make it through, but I ended up scoring very badly, and that has left a dent on my transcript now. So along with that freedom comes a responsibility to see what really is helpful and it isn't, because it's not only the bad grade that I got from that course, but also I don't think I ended up gaining any new skills or any new kind of knowledge from that course. So it is a responsibility as a graduate student to really think about the things that you want to explore, the things that will help you out when you explore, but these risk-taking activities do pose a challenge. And I think I have learned it somewhat a hard way, that you must do your research before getting into what you are trying to get into. So I think that's one of the things that people should be careful about. With freedom does come some sort of responsibility of handling yourself and taking care of yourself. So yeah.
Yeah, Mish, I think I completely agree with you. I think we have a lot of things that we share across other than designing posters. So I completely agree. So the same was true for me. Again, like Amish, I decided to pursue a field that was what had outgrown traditional mechanical engineering, and that basically meant I had to take courses that were sort of out of my comfort zone. It also this basically meant that you took courses in computer science, you took courses in aero astro, and there are people here who've been in the field for like 5-6 years before coming and taking these courses. The initial feeling is one of absolute thrill, but fear at the same time. You're suddenly amongst peers who are amongst the best from where they come. Like they're the best at what they do. Like they've worked in the industry for a while, or they've performed really well, or they're exceptional talents. And sometimes you are cognizant of that, sometimes you're not. One of the first things that they warn you at least at Stanford was something called the duck syndrome. And the duck syndrome is a classical case of imposter syndrome, where it's like a duck. If you see a duck in a pond, you'll see the duck just serenely swimming by. But if you look underneath the water, you can see that the duck is paddling furiously to just stay afloat. And that is what they mentioned, that you will not realize what people are going through just from the face of it. And you need to understand that it takes time for everyone to adjust. And so that was something that took me some time, because I didn't have a lot of friends. I was not very outgoing initially, and that was a bit of a struggle in the first few quarters. And when you take courses which are difficult, which are out of your domain, with the best peers, it is difficult. But what I realized helped me the most was peers from the same background. And it was so important to find people from my background, uh, just to connect and just to talk about things. And it's always heartening and helpful to know that even they're going through the same grind. And those are the sort of things that help you deal with all the anxiety, all the issues that you come across, because when you tackle these collectively, it becomes easier. It's always good to have peers around you who share the same jokes, share the same camaraderie. So that's something that helped me get through, and that sort of helped me get through the challenges of taking up something new. And I'm incredibly fortunate to have gone through that. Yeah.
So yeah, no, I agree that, this is a process, which makes you very, very mature. You learn so many new things, and you learn how to manage yourself. And very rightly said by both of you, that, the kind of maturity which you are now able to develop. Now it's a time for both of you. You can now open up a little further. As I said in the beginning, that you both are at such a wonderful phase of your life and career. Please share further details about whatever you are doing now and what next you want to do. And as the title says, we look at the new age now. So many huge and complex challenges around us. And what is your view about all those things, and how do you perceive, and any message for any young student?
Sure. I think I can go ahead with this. So as I mentioned, like I'm working in a field that is really exciting. People talk a lot about this, but there are so many concerns here. There's so many ethical concerns, safety concerns, what people are doing. Because at the end of the day, a person sitting in a car, when you control the car, it is a person's life at stake. It is not just a program that crashes that you can start up again or restart the system. There's no fallback here. So you have to be very cognizant of what you're doing. But at the same time, it poses a lot of challenges. It's a new field to think about. I mean, there are so many things you take for granted every day while driving a car. Like it's just natural. Like you just take for granted, like stopping for a pedestrian coming, passing him? How do you negotiate? All of these things are new in this domain. How do you make things? So that's what I'm really excited for in the short term, and that's what I'm working on. Like I'm working on highway scenarios, later on urban scenarios. Urban scenarios, the sort of things you see on urban roads. It's a big challenge, and that's what is an immediate thrill for me to be able to work on something like that. To be honest, long term, I've always been passionate about what I've been doing right now. I've always been in the autonomy industry, like automotive industry. This is something that I've been given a lot of thought to. Long term, I am cognizant of all the ethical concerns. Who is responsible for accidents? Who is going to be in charge? Whom do you blame? To be honest, and these are the sort of questions that nobody has an answer to right now. And those are sort of things that you keep thinking in the back of your mind. So ethical concerns, safety and autonomy. This always comes. This is one of the most important things that we talk about now is safety and autonomy. For me, whenever I talk about this, I always tell, I think my parents are here as well. They're scared of driving on Ahmedabad roads, and rightly so. I'll give that to them. Like I understand their fear, and that's one of the driving forces for me in the long term, is to come up with systems, especially in challenging environments in India, where I can come up with systems that help us, basically help my parents, people like my parents, drive across, go transportation. I'm really strong about transportation always. Connectivity is necessary, and in a country like ours, where growth is linked to all these systems, connectivity is necessary. I think that's where I hope to play a crucial role. That's what I think my long-term contribution would be, and hopefully I can do that coming back to India sometime and contributing, doing my bit for the country. Yeah.
Kshitij, wonderful. Before I request Amish, let me take a minute here. At Ahmedabad University, we are working on a research cluster called Intelligent Transportation System. It's early stage, and when I was listening you, and I realized that we have a lot to learn from you. So we will invite you, in one of those discussion forum, and we would like to get some of your inputs also, and it'll be great if you can contribute in whichever capacity you can or whenever you can. I know you are quite occupied, but it'd be pleasure for us, to get good ideas, because a couple of members are actually trying to do somewhat similar work, not exactly, but somewhat similar, safety and planning, and and all those points. Of course, situations and scenarios in both the countries are different, but we would not like to look at only Indian scenario, but we would also like to look at scenarios in other countries also. So this has provided a very good input for us to think. Yeah, very interesting, Kshitij, very frankly. Amish, will you please share your views?
Sure. My answer, I think, is a little bit more boring than Kshitij's. My work is more theoretical rather than close to application when compared to his. So what I do is modeling of systems at atomic level, right? And there, I think, so at this point, I think I would like to take a step back and appreciate the learning that happens inside classrooms. I totally agree that what we do outside the classrooms is really helpful in developing some of the practical skills. But what I have, so whenever I come across a new concept that helps me in modeling, I really thank myself for every hour that I spent with a textbook in a classroom or outside a classroom. And as I am very close to theoretical research, I think it is really important for students to not let anyone tell them that all the learning that you do in theory is only limited to your examinations, or what you will learn in an industry is the only thing that you will use in your career ahead, and that is completely not true. I think what I even now whenever I come across a concept that I don't remember correctly or wasn't clarified enough during a classroom session, I think I do regret that. And I think it is really so for the students who are not very good at making things that run, or things that demonstrate operations in laboratory, but are more interested in just exploring the theoretical world. I think there is a really vibrant world for everyone. I think that is something that I enjoy doing, and I think students should not feel that they, as engineers, they are required to work in a operational industry, for example. So that I think is something that I have set myself into. I think students who feel that way should not feel left out, and should not feel that you are not doing well in the other area. So that's what I would like to share right now.
No, thank you, Amish. You have shared very valuable input, specifically for those who are very young and planning for future career, future higher studies and career. And, I can see Professor Kunjuru on the screen, and we have many senior professors, specifically from chemical engineering here. And I'm sure they will agree with what you said, but I completely agree with, most of us, we agree with you that sound theoretical foundations are absolutely crucial, and these are the foundations on the basis of which you can think very, very big. You can come out with various ambitious plans and challenges to be addressed. And when I look at or when we listen both of you, it is very obvious that we have to be very strong on multidisciplinary aspects. Otherwise, we remain very, very we always look at the world from a very different point of view. Now, very frankly, it is not that I'm praising you, but I would definitely like to call both of you, or consider both of you, as a role model for any young student who is joining engineering and planning to think big in terms of higher studies as well as future professional career growth. To me, you look like a role model, perfect role models. Now, I don't see you give advice, but I'm sure you have some points to share with young students. And very frankly, what I'm going to do, I'm going to request Neha, and we will be, taking some small clips out of these videos, which I'm going to share with some students. If not whole video at a time, but some of the clips, and these clips will be very motivational for the students when they come and join first semester. And when they look at us, they don't agree with most of our points, and you also did not agree with whatever we told you on first and second days of your college education. But coming back to my point, would you like to share some of your views, which could be very motivating, very, very motivational for these young students, and specifically students joining engineering education? And then you talk about other students, and students joining in other disciplines also.
Sure. So what I have tried to do until now is to keep a certain degree of uncertainty in what I want to do next. It is good to know what you want to work on, or what specific problem you want to solve. but you don't always get to, pursue, things don't work out as you exactly planned in your head. And our human brain is limited in the amount of extrapolation that we can do in our head. So I think what has helped me until now is to keep that flexibility of exploring things. Even when you know what problem you want to solve, there are uh, people who try to solve it in hundreds of different ways, right? And when you have that flexibility, and when you keep that uncertainty of choosing a path, you keep yourself open to the good ideas and good approaches that you can take to solve those problems. For me, the master's thesis program that was offered to me by my master's advisor was not related to what actually I was looking for. I was looking for something that is related to catalysis. So basically the reactions that happen on solid surfaces. But instead I was given a problem with high entropy alloys, or alloys that contain a lot of elements in them. And this problem was something that this project itself was something that was being started from scratch. So I got to be a part of designing a solution out of nothing, and thinking about what things we can try, and what approaches we can, what approaches are practical for us to try. And within 1 year, I think I was able to learn computational chemistry from a very, very good angle, because I thought about the problem first, and then the method that I was going to use. So I think that level of flexibility is something that has helped me a lot. I would ever advise students to be open to new things, be open to new areas of research. So, or areas of problem solving if you are in industry. I think that's what I would like to say here.
I think I completely agree with Amish again. I've had the same experience. So I think I'd like to make 3 points here, 3 brief notes. First of the three, it's echoing Amish's sentiment here. So I studied a field, I work in a field that relates to reinforcement learning. And without going into too much depth, there's a key concept called the bias of exploration versus exploitation. So what that basically says is a method or a policy that you pick, you could either keep on exploiting it if you find it good and reap the rewards immediately, or you can keep exploring and potentially find something new that could give you more rewards in the long term. And it's always good to have a healthy balance between the two for your reinforcement algorithm to work. And that I think has spanned well to real life as well. I've realized the more you are adventurous in terms of what you pick. I mean, this is always good to have a direction. But it's always good to try your hand at new things at all points of time. For me, that has been the experience. So again, relating to what I did at Stanford, the first quarter, I took courses that I was really passionate about, but were really new. Again, like Amish, I got dented a bit. I had lower grades, and I sort of went in that fear mindset. And in the second quarter, I started taking courses that were sort of more conservative, safer courses to take. And you have this 1 week period where you can sort of test out courses, try out courses, and come to a decision. And at that point of time, I realized that maybe this is not what I want to do. Like, I should not be fearful. And at that point, I stepped back and tried to see what I did in undergrad. And I realized I took courses that were against the grain. Like I would take courses that not everybody took. I remember taking a course on power electronics where we had only 5 students in a class in taking that course. And I went back and realized that at that point of time, that's the point when I had the most learnings out of what I was doing at that point of time. And that sort of then carried over right now to taking up courses later on and doing things now in general where you'd like to try out new things. So that's again echoing Amish's sentiment. Try new things. Ahmedabad University will give you the opportunity to pursue projects. Projects are your outlets to try out new things. So I'd like everyone to try out new things in projects. I mean, this is the time you can experiment. So that's the first thing. The second thing, slightly controversial, but I want to make everyone aware of this, and I think people are aware that the quality of education you seek is no longer exclusive to what you see in class. There are a lot of resources, and if you are inquisitive, if you are curious, you want to know more, there are so many resources available. It's not an excuse anymore. Like the quality of education that you get in class is not an excuse anymore. You need to go out. And that's what I even did at Stanford as well. You would still go out and look for better resources. So that's one thing I want people to keep in mind. But that said, I still strongly feel that nothing matches the experience of in-class education with the professor whom you are in sync, and with TAs, teaching assistants or research assistants in the field. They are the ones who will have the best interaction with you, and that's where you learn the most. Peer learning is something I strongly believe in. So that will only happen when you are in class. So I think in-class learning is there to stay. That's where you'll have a lot of experiences, but be open to it. And the third is quite funny and based on my experience. I think not all people realize this, but every part of your education at all levels is important. Everything is worth it. Like you might think some course is not useful right now, but trust me, it'll come back, it'll help you. And that has happened with me. So again, another incident, this was my final semester at Ahmedabad University. I already knew I was going to Stanford. Everything was set up for me. I just had to take one course to complete my requirements. And I was running out of courses in mechanical engineering. So I took one on quality engineering. And that was just left field of what I do. Like I had no interest, but I still decided I'll take quality engineering. And that was taught by a professor who was very old school in his teaching methods, but very rigorous. And my first day in class was like, I don't know what I'll learn out of this. I don't know where I'll use my Six Sigma, where I'll use my 5S quality approaches. I don't know where I'll find it useful. But funnily enough, my first internship, my hiring manager at the time at Samsung, the first question he asked was, what is your background in quality engineering? And we had a half-an-hour conversation about quality engineering as general, how you apply, what you'd seen. And that went on to give me my first internship. And that's completely left field of what I did initially. So that's what I wanted to make everyone aware of. Like treat every part of your education as something that will always stay with you. You never know where it'll come and help you. So yeah, those are the three things I wanted to make sure I convey across. Yeah.
No, personally, I'm so happy, and at times surprised also, even at such a young age, how come you are able to present your views so effectively for these young students? I'm really surprised that, how come you're able to think so maturely. I'm so happy, let me tell you, with your thought process and so on. Before we open a floor for questions, anything specific, which we could miss, and if you want to share, any point which you would like to highlight?
Okay, let me go first then. So I think now School of Engineering and Applied Sciences, I think it has developed a lot of programs now at even graduate level. And one of the things that I saw here at Carnegie Mellon, I think is very, very helpful to undergraduate students is a mentorship from graduate students. So when graduate students work with undergrads and mentor them, it not only helps the undergrad learn from the graduate student, but it's also a really good mentoring opportunity for the graduate students. Ahmedabad University might already be doing this, but just in case it has not received much attention, I think it will be great to have, at least summer research projects for students, undergraduate students, to work with graduate students on their problems. So even the graduate students will get some help. They'll have this mentoring opportunity, and if anyone is looking for careers in academia, or any kind of institute where mentoring is important, this will definitely help them. Personally, I don't have a mentoring opportunity that is very thorough, but right now I am involved in a UGRP with Professor Dharam Shirabari. We have 2 students working on a project, and my contribution is only on a weekly basis, but that I think is also my first experience with working with students who are learning what I have learned. So I think that is something that the university can polish on. Yeah, I think that's all I have to share for now.
Yeah, good. And thank you, Amish, that you are helping school to even mentor young students. Very nice.
Sure.
Kshitij?
Yeah, sure. So for me, I'll keep talking about the project-based learning that we have. I think from my first year, something that was an abstract idea to seeing it now as a full-fledged project, I think full-fledged initiative. It has worked pretty well for us. That's something that I carried over quite a bit to here. Like once I came here, projects are the norm, and there are courses that just end with projects instead of exams, and there it's sort of the team building exercise that you go through. That if you have gone through, like we have in Ahmedabad University, it translates well. You sort of take it like a fish to water. Like you're quite easy. You know what to do, how to come up with things. You're methodical with how you want to go about, because you know the problems you'll face. So that's something that I think the university has an upper hand on, and I think we should just push forward with that. That's something that's a very valuable skill to have. I am really grateful for it. Another quick thing I just wanted to mention for people, for students, again, just in general, and the university as a whole, people in the university, like we need to have an open mind to learn from unexpected sources. Again, an incident here is like you never know where you learn from. I right now have a colleague who worked for Indian Railways as a structural engineer for 14 years. And I learned from him computer systems design, and the tips and tricks that I learned from him that he has worked on, because his time he's worked in an era where they didn't have a GUI, proper GUI to work with. So like I want people to know, like, learn from most unexpected sources, keep working on your projects. Those are the sort of things that count and that help. So I'm looking forward to the university taking these things up. These are things that'll help us all.
Yeah. So, I'm, as I told you, I'm really surprised with your maturity. And from knowledge point of view, I know, you both are progressing so effectively. And, we would wish that we continue, we continue this interaction. We keep on asking and discussing so many points with each other. But I think let us look at a few questions from the participants. And now I request Dr. Neha to take over from here, and let us see, which questions, these participants are having.
Thank you, Professor Chaudhary and Jan Amish, for this engaging conversation. And there's one interesting question I have is, how have you dealt with your moments of doubts of what you want to do?
I think the best answer that I can give is really to, seek for help. Do not be afraid to seek for help. Could be from your peers, could be from your mentors, could be from faculties. could be from a staff member in your department, depending on the problem that you are facing. It is, you really don't know what kind of solutions you will get until you ask someone. And for an introvert like me, and I think Kshitij did mention that he's not very outgoing, but everyone knows that I'm even less outgoing than him. It does take an amount of activation energy that we call in chemical engineering and chemistry. So for a reaction to proceed, it has to cross a barrier it has to gain certain energy, and then it can go downhill from there. But taking a step to seek for help, that barrier is not always easy to cross, but when you do that, you will be surprised with the answers that you will get. So I think, yeah, that's what I can say here.
So now I see some questions, Neha. Let me take a few questions. There is a point from Jay Doshi.
Yes.
It is written that thanks for the wonderful conversation on a Sunday. So this is a compliment for all of us. That on a Sunday, wonderful conversation. Good. Thanks, Jay.
Yes.
And he's asking question to Amish. And his question is that Amish mentioned he's planning to begin his PhD in clean energy with his background in inter-atomic computational simulations. How he sees his skill sets to bring clean and green future to the society. Wow, wonderful question by Jay.
Yeah, thank you so much for asking this. I think so. Let me break down how these simulations are used in clean energy research. So when you look at a clean energy system, one thing is to create a fuel, and another thing is to utilize that fuel. So people try to model or try to discover new materials every day to get both of these things done efficiently. When you are using or creating fuel, you basically are running a chemical reaction, and that chemical or those chemical reactions, most of the times they happen on a catalyst surface or something that promotes those chemical reactions. And when you model these interactions at atomic level, you can really understand the processes that happen at atomic level, and look at what things need to like what is a descriptor that will let you run these reactions more efficiently. And one of the challenges that we have in utilizing solar energy to generate these fuels is that a catalytic material, most of these materials are based on platinum and other rare earth metals, so they're very expensive. But people have now, after modeling it at atomic level, come up with some descriptors that can let you screen a space of a search space of materials and find materials that have not been yet discovered in a laboratory. And and if you find something, you can then ask experimentalists to try and make it. This basically saves us from the cost of trying each and everything in a laboratory. And this is one of the areas my advisor at Carnegie Mellon used to work on, or is still working on. And his group basically runs billions of these calculations in order to get to a material. And people combine this with artificial intelligence and machine learning techniques to decide what new calculation to start, because even these calculations are very expensive. So you want to search in an efficient way, and many of these machine learning techniques help with that. So basically, I think I went into very specific ideas, but the point is that with computational chemistry, you can run simulations that give you understanding of these processes. And then with these understanding, you can come up with new ideas and materials that can potentially solve the problem you want to solve. So that's how the chain is linked with the energy.
Kshitij, I mean, yeah, thank you, Amish. Definitely, it was a nice and very detailed kind of, explanation. Kshitij, because you are also involved in a lot of simulations and, you are applying algorithms. Can you please share your details about, what kind of algorithms, what kind of simulation you are doing, and what are the details about it?
Sure. So for us, simulations is a part of validation. So in the automotive industry, there's something called the ISO 26262 standard, or the safety validation standard. So it's you need to think of it as like a requirement. So there is a requirement that you have in a feature that you say, okay, the car should have like lane centering or lane assist. Then you have those requirements that flow into feature level requirements. And then it comes down to us, the developers, to come up with algorithms. So, and then you validate it as well. So there's something called system in the loop, or software in the loop, or vehicle in the loop, or hardware in the loop. So the way we validate is first software in the loop. So we have simulators set up, like we have little vehicle simulators set up to test out what we write. So what we usually do is, when we come up with algorithms, like I work on lane change assist or lane change suggestion, which basically means once the driver says, I'd like to lane change, please lane change for me. What do you look at? And when you do those simulations, you try all sorts of scenarios. And in typical computer science fashion, you look for the edge cases. So you're looking for the edge cases. You're thinking about a driver who's just going to pass you by and then suddenly slow down. There's a case where on the freeway, suddenly someone going at like 100 kilometers per hour just comes to a dead standstill. How do you deal with these situations? How do you incorporate these in your algorithm development? Those are the sort of things you think about. What happens when suddenly someone decides, oh, I don't want to lane change, I'll come back. In that case, what do you do? So those are sort of the simulations you want to come up with. That is scenarios, like what scenarios you deal with, what scenario simulations you want to deal with. There's also the fact that the simulation has to be as close to the car. So my field has a lot of software and hardware interactions. So when I model something, someone models it for me. So vehicle dynamics is also a very key aspect. You can't call a car with just one wheel, right? The car has to have 4 wheels. It has to have a drivetrain. It has to behave like a car. So you need to model that sort of dynamics into the simulation, so that when you test something, the car behaves exactly the same manner in real life as what you would see in the simulation. So that sort of simulation fidelity is something that you look forward to when you're developing, and you account for those things in your algorithm development as well. And all of this is in like a safety envelope. You need to make sure that everything is done safely. People's lives are at risk. So you're always thinking about these things. So that is the sort of work I do when coming up with simulations, coming up with algorithms.
No, thank you, Kshitij, for making all complexities very, very simple while understanding. I mean, you have made your best to, both of you, you have explained the whole complex process in a very, very simplified manner. Dr. Dharamshi has shared that Amish was involved in one Enable course on process simulation, as well as he said Amish was also involved in guiding one student for undergraduate research program, which is one of the key features of Ahmedabad University. Yeah. So floor is still open. We have very
I have one question from them.
Yeah, please, Professor Kunju.
First of all, let me congratulate both of you for graduating from such prestigious universities. My question is that you must be competing with the best from all over the world. So how did you find yourself in terms of academic preparation? Did you find a disadvantage, or you were as good or better than the others?
Okay. First of all, really nice to see you, Professor Kunju. It has been a long time. But I think it has been, so I have actually never felt that I lacked some kind of concept that was not that is hindering me now. Maybe I did not remember it correctly and I had to go back and look at it, but I think the curriculum that was covered as a part of undergraduate studies, it was really diverse. I had a lot of freedom to, take some electives. So I remember taking Professor Aditi's catalysis course, and that is that has been very, very helpful during. So my thesis program was a collaboration with mechanical and material science engineering, and I'm glad that I took Professor Ajay Karakoti's material science course. So I think in terms of, at least I can speak for chemical engineering, I think we are in a very good position for preparing students and bringing them up to the level of where all the international institutes are. I think we have a really diverse pedagogy in that sense, and I don't see an immediate concern of falling behind in terms of competition from international students. That said, I think the courses that we had, some of the elective courses, I felt that there should be compulsory core courses. I have, I think I have, I'm not sure if I have had an opportunity to express those, but I would be definitely happy to discuss more of our curriculum.
In the new program, by the way, we have a compulsory course on heterogeneous catalysis design, reactor design.
Okay, that's great. But I hope the transport phenomena course goes compulsory.
Yeah, that is also compulsory, I think.
Okay, great.
No, Professor Kunjuru, no, that
it's
is
not
an
compulsory.
It's a major elective, but good thing is many students are taking that, Amish. So your point is you have made very well, proper point, yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
No, thank you, Professor Kunjuru. Professor Kunjuru is always, very inspiring person for all of us. Yeah. Yeah. Any other question from the audience? Yeah, Kuntal, I think Kuntal Patel has raised a question that how do you see the role of various professional chapters like, AICHE, ASME, IEEE, ACM, etc. in shaping your career and growth? Very good question. So Kshitij, you can go first.
Yeah, sure. For me, I think those I was able to work on a few chapters, especially IEEE, Robotics and Automation Society. Unfortunately, I couldn't contribute a lot towards it. But I see the potential, I see the growth opportunities there, because the skills that people, so again, coming back to what Professor Kunjuru was talking about as well, the academic grounding comes from these resources as well. So if these activities sort of encourage students to come up with their own requirements, come up with what they want to do, and that sort of stems into their career growth or their academic grounding as well. So those really play an important role, and that's from more from observation rather than my personal experience. So I think, yeah, they play an important role. You learn skills that you might not learn in the class that are really essential, especially in the industry. So yeah, I think they play an important role.
Amish?
Sure. So if I my contribution to the AICHE student chapter was only at a bureaucratical level. So I helped set up the chapter. I helped or I handled along with help from my friends the first election of the chapter. But whatever activities that they carried out, because this election and the setup was completed at the end of my final semester. So next, I wasn't able to, I was in touch with the team for, I think, first semester of my master's program. But beyond that, I wasn't able to, take out much time. But they have done a really commendable job in setting an identity for themselves. The second president of that chapter, Darshan Soni, he got an opportunity to come to AICHE conference in the US, and fortunately, I was also able to attend that conference. Had a really good time there, but I think these are the opportunities that students get through these student chapters, and now they are competing in a national level competition that has opportunities to, if they succeed there, they can compete with other students at international level. There's a competition called Chem E-Car, where they design a car running from a chemical reaction. And now that our students are participating well in that competition, they have a really nice exposure. And I would like to congratulate them for their first participation in that competition. And yeah, I think they're doing really well. I do have some suggestions for them, but that's a different topic I can discuss with the team offline. So yeah.
Good. Yeah. So Abhishu Oja has asked one question: how can we use technology to help us fight climate change? So before we stop, I think let us take this particular question. Let me repeat this. Question is, how can we use technology to help us fight climate change?
Right. So, okay, Kshitij, go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, Amish might have a more closer relation to this, but for me, again, transportation has surprisingly been an important factor in, and has been unfortunately been contributing massively to climate change. So the emissions that we have seen, there have been recent scandals in emissions from big companies like Volkswagen. You've seen something from, I think, Volkswagen and Ford at some time, I think. But yeah, these companies, like you start seeing the blind spots that these companies have, even the legacy companies. And this is where I think technologies that we develop have a big opportunity. Like companies like Uber or Lyft, who had been working in the ride-hailing business, they had big bets on self-driving technology, only to bail out later on. So that's kind of unfortunate right now. So that speaks to the immensity of the problem that we have. And people understand that we need to come up with more sustainable sources, or use more sustainable sources to go forward. And that can only come if we don't stifle innovation in these fields. So electric cars, even though they might have less emissions in their driving run, but just to build them, what is the carbon footprint? People are considering those things. So they'll play an important role, I think, and in scenarios or situations that we do not see them coming right now, but there are some people who are already seeing that. So we need to just encourage those fields, and you never know what works out. So yeah, I think we need to keep an open mind and be cognizant of that.
Right. So I think climate change is a problem that is being tackled from very different levels in very different fields. If you ask a civil engineer, he or she would talk about planning a city in such a way that your energy consumption is minimized, or planning a building in such a way that your energy consumption from HVAC is minimized. When you talk to a mechanical engineer, they would talk about making a very efficient engine in a car, for example, to reduce emissions. If you even look at Google's I/O keynote, they usually have a section where they talk about how they are going, or all of their data centers are run on renewable energy, and they are harvesting geothermal energy and things like that. I remember this from the last I/O that they had. what I work on, or what I will work on, hopefully, is a very low-level problem of how to efficiently utilize fuels and how to efficiently generate fuels. So regardless of what field you are in, you always have an opportunity to contribute towards climate change. I think there are a lot of ways you can solve this problem or help solve this problem. So yeah, if you are interested in making things more efficient, pick one that you are most interested in, and just I think there will, I'm sure you will find a very good pathway towards solving a problem. So yeah.
No, yeah, thank you, both of you. Because what I can conclude in short is that not only you have made your points very, very relevant from the theme point of view, not only new age engineering, but how we are going to solve such complex problems using multidisciplinary approach. And it was very, very, very interesting to know very precise answers from you. At times people talk very vague, but both of you remain very, very precise. And I think this is what is required from engineers and technocrats, that we have to be very, very precise. We understand problems very correctly, but we come out with solutions with precision. So thank you very much, and we will continue our interactions. And what I personally believe is that students like you, professionals like you, we should involve you in our curriculum, to research, to a lot of other developmental activities, not only at the school but also at the university. And as you both are very much interested in contributing to the university, your talks and your interactions with students and faculty will be very, very constructive, and it will be very, very fruitful to get further development at the university. Thank you very much, both of you, once again, Amish and Kshitij. For me it was a pleasure, and even I came to know about many things, and for that my personal thanks to both of you. On behalf of all of us, I would like to thank Tvisha, because she managed everything from backend point of view. Hirak, who is also member of Alumni Association, and Neha as a leader in that particular, in that particular division of alumni affairs, and all other members who are related in this particular activity. Thank you very much, all of you, and thank you all the participants, starting from Professor Kunjuru to all very young students who are here. Thank you very much. And let me make a last comment that from school point of view, I'm very selfish. I'm going to take out a lot of videos from this conversation.
Please do. Please do, sir.
Back to you, Neha.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sanjay sir. Thank you, Kshitij and Amish, for an engaging, insightful conversation. It was wonderful to hear you talk so passionately about what you're doing. As Kshitij said, making cars think on their own is, to a non-science person, is such a fancy thing. And I'm sure it is. I can hear the kind of work that you're doing, not just here in this conversation, but
somehow,
the one we had earlier.
I think there is a thunderstorm here now. It is raining outside, so
yeah, it is.
Some internet connection failure.
It is.
Okay.
And am I audible? Yeah. Okay. And thank you, Amish, also to you, that finding ways to make clean energy, fuel efficient systems, and wanting to make this world a better place to be in, and that too with impressive clarity and articulation. So super. Thank you so much. And I would also like to thank Professor Pankaj Chandra, Vice Chancellor at Ahmedabad University, and my colleagues, Professor Deepak Kunjuru, Professor Harshad Shah, Professor Ashok Ranade, Professor Dharamshi Rabari, Professor Shekhali Nayak, Professor Kuntal Patel, and many others who've joined us today for the conversation. To the family members of both Kshitij and Amish, please know that the university prides on them both, for they really bear the capabilities, attitude, values to excel in the field they choose to pursue around the world, not just here. And so With such interactions, our ultimate goal is to establish a connect with all our graduates, our current students, to provide you with a platform to reconnect with your own classmates, develop a network of professional opportunities, stay informed on what's happening at the Ahmedabad University, keep you connected with things, everything about the university also. And to all our alumni who have joined us today, we are committed to work to widen our outreach with your support. We welcome you to tell us about your achievements and accomplishments and get featured on the Ahmedabad University website and social media handles. We welcome you to tell us about your issues, if at all you are at a crossroad wondering which way to reach out to us then too, to discuss your best way forward, is what Amish said, that if you are stuck and confused, that's what you do. So we are all here. And like your university days, if you have ideas for events and activities, come tell us and we'll organize it together. You have our email ID, alumni@ahbuni.edu.in. And remember that Ahmedabad alumni community is your community. So on that note, I thank you all again, Professor Sanjay Chaudhary and the distinguished alumni, Kshitij and Amish, for the engaging talk. And thank you again to my professors and colleagues here who took the time out on Sunday to encourage all of these alumni and the current students to be associated with the university. Thank you to the audience for taking time out on this now beautiful raining Sunday evening and being curious to ask questions. A bigger thank you to both Amish and Kshitij to wake up so early and be here, because they've joined us from the US. So we started our conversation at their 5 a.m. in the morning and their 8 a.m. in the morning while we are here enjoying the evening time. And yeah, thank you to my entire team at the university to put this event together. Thank you everyone. Have a peaceful evening, beautiful weather out here, and thank you to both of you there. Have a good weekend. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. It was really nice. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for organizing, and thanks everyone who attended.